On the other hand, you have top government officials who are doing the opposite, doing everything they can to demonize and to dehumanize these Africans. So you have Miri Regev, the top female official in the ruling Likud party, and she tells a crowd of thousands of Israelis, an anti-African rally in downtown Tel Aviv, she tells them the Sudanese are a cancer in our body. Now, admittedly, she later apologized for her comments. But she didn't apologize to Africans for comparing them to cancer. She apologized to Israeli cancer victims for comparing them to Africans. That's from the top female official in the ruling Likud party, and the top male official in the ruling Likud party, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And he says this summer, Israel is preparing to stop the spread of Ebola, to protect from infiltrators. When you hear infiltrators, you need to understand, again, I'll parse that for you. That's a code word in the Israeli lexicon. Infiltrators is the word they use for African refugees in order to vilify them in the minds of Jewish Israelis. So comparing them to cancer, comparing them to Ebola, death-causing diseases, that's what Africans are to you? Cancer? Ebola? Well, let's just say that it was already on fertile ground that they were working with, because this summer, an Israeli news site decided to conduct a survey. It's President Obama's birthday. What do you think we should give him for his birthday? And wouldn't you know it, 48% of respondents said an envelope with Ebola. So let's be honest though. This has been going on for a long time. It's a classic white supremacist tactic to compare black people with death, to create that connection in people's minds. So just the other week we remember the passing of Malcolm X. It's been exactly 50 years since he was assassinated. And he taught us how the word Negro, said to mean black, comes from the word necro, which means death. So this idea of associating black people and death-causing diseases is a long-term white supremacist tactic. And Netanyahu and the Likud party are just the most recent people to use this tactic.
The last thing you want is a bidding war between countries for this vaccine. You know, we know there are 60 million healthcare workers around the world who are keeping everybody safe. They deserve to get this vaccine first. And from there, you want to do tiering in various countries to make sure your most vulnerable populations get it. In our country, that would be Blacks and Native Americans, people with underlying health conditions. Do tiering in various countries to make sure your most vulnerable populations get it. In our country, that would be Blacks and Native Americans. People do tiering in various countries to make sure your most vulnerable populations get it. In our country, that would be Blacks and Native Americans, people with underlying health conditions, and the elderly.